Hey everyone, DarkDragoon here with episode 12 of my FTB Modpack Let's Play. Just logging in here today, and as we left off from last episode, we have some rails to put in, right? I wanted to show you guys that I actually did do some adjusting in this room. I had to lower the floor down by a square, so of course I had to lower all of this down a square, but that's okay. So in the meantime, you can see this item loader has filled up with all sorts of peat. And so while I'm here, before we throw the track down, I'll go ahead and explain this whole item loader thing and its interface. Basically over here we have a buffer. This is essentially the item's chest. So long as the cart is not here, obviously this buffer will fill up until the cart shows up. This filter section, obviously since we're only using one item thus far here, we don't really need to worry about the filter in this case, but basically what the filter does is you can control what types of items will move from the item loader into a passing cart. These three here, these are pretty much your sort of mode control. T is the transfer. Basically, it will simply move whatever items are in the buffer into a waiting cart, and then again with the filter you can control which of the items will be moved and how many of them will be moved at a time. If you just leave it empty, like we're going to do, it's going to try to put as many items as over here into the minecart thing. There is stock mode, which will basically indicate what the desired contents of the cart's inventory is. So let's say if you want to keep, half a stack of peat in the inventory of the cart, you can go stock mode and then tell it 32. And that way you'll constantly keep probably getting peat in here, but it'll only send 32 at a time. And obviously this doesn't actually use up your peat, which is cool. So yeah, and then the last mode, excess mode, will indicate that the inventory should only contain the items that you put in the filter. So if there are any items in your cart as it goes into this loader, it will pull out anything that it doesn't think belongs in it. So yeah, needless to say, like I said, we are actually going to be using transfer and not using the filter, because our ultimate goal is basically just to ship this stuff over to the factory. So we just need to take as much as we have here and take it into the factory. We are also going to click this wait button, because this basically tells the cart to wait until it's completely finished doing whatever you told it to. So in this case, it's going to wait until all of the inventory is thrown into the cart. And then of course these two slots up here are your cart filters to tell the loader which kind of carts to interface with. Obviously we do not need that. So we pretty much have everything set the way we're going to need them for the item loader to work. So now I'm definitely going to put a booster track here, and we're going to have to probably make a lever. I don't have any cobble, but that's easy enough to get. There we go. Easy. We're pretty much just going to power this booster track with a lever, and we can flip it on and off if we need, but yeah. So let's go ahead and throw down the rest of our track, and hopefully we have enough here. I did make a few more, so we'll just have to find out, and then we'll have to just make our cart. And this system should be working once that's done. I think we're probably going to need to, yeah, we're going to need to make a couple more here. Just a little bit. Obviously, once we test this, we'll see if we need to do some more booster tracks or what. I'm pretty much waiting to do that until we're ready for it. I don't really see a point in throwing down a bunch of booster tracks that we don't need, but it's very likely, I don't know, that the cart might run out of steam before it gets there, so we might need another booster track or two. So, yeah, let me make some more of these rails here. I'm actually going to go ahead and clip the video since you guys already saw me making rails last episode, but when I'll be back, hopefully we'll have some rails made. Alright, we're back. I already got my tracks made, and I want to go ahead and make my chest cart here. It's pretty simple, we're just going to need a mine cart and a chest. Now, I want to check, before I go ahead and make a mine cart, I want to look around because I might have one sitting somewhere. I honestly don't remember. Okay, it doesn't look like we do, so cool. So we're going to have to make us a mine cart and a chest. Let's see, we're going to need... There's our minecart. We're going to need to grab our wood out of here. Birchwood will do. So, yeah, chest. And I don't know why I made that, because we had one sitting there. But that's okay. You guys can see, chest cart. Cool. So, that done, let's go downstairs and we'll test this thing out once we get the last of our tracks laid here. Should be enough. See, I already put down our booster track here, and let's take a look at the unloader real quick. Pretty much, you can see it has the exact same sort of interface here as the loader. So, again, we're basically just going to tell it to have the cart wait until it's completely emptied its inventory before it goes back. And we shouldn't have to really worry about putting anything else in. Same way, just transfer, and we should be good to go. So let's throw our cart down, and hopefully it should zip off. There it goes. We'll be able to very quickly see, just by following it, where we might need another booster cart. I'm thinking here-ish, because that's about where it starts to slow down. So yeah, let's trying to figure out exactly what might be the best way to get the redstone signal to it. Let's try this. Let's just see if we can't. Okay, it's not going to work. One other thing to try before we just go with a tried and true method. Okay, I guess it would have to be beneath it. Yes, there we go. Cool. And it's out of sight, so out of mind. Seems to have gone a little ahead of us, unfortunately, so we'll have to see if we can't. Or we can just push it along. That's always an option. Probably we'll have to put in another one of these booster tracks over here on this side. Come on. Get out of there. Alright. I'm thinking... I don't really have a particular distance in mind. Why don't we go there? It's about 10 blocks away. And for this, we'll just make another lever. It's easy enough. And as usual, having inventory problems. Okay. Let's just push this along this booster so it'll go. There we go. And it should stop. And you'll see it starts to fill up. Come on. You're gonna let us look at your inventory? Yep, there it goes. See, it's completely filling. And it should have turned around. So apparently it's going to keep going that way. So we're going to need some kind of buffer here to stop it. Okay, you're going to be a pain, aren't you? There we go. Let me Let me get this inventory under control and I'll be back. Alright, we are back. You guys can see, finally got my inventory under control. And I got this thing picked up, so we're gonna throw it down. Should start to fill. I wonder if this booster track being here is interfering. Let's try moving it down one. You know what it is? It's probably trying to wait until it's completely full. And we don't want it to do that, but we already turned that off, so... Yeah, I don't understand why it's not turning around once it finishes. Try to push it. There we go. It's gonna go. Once it gets down there, you can see it's already stopped because of the holding track. It should be unloading all of the peat into there, yeah. Now, I have to figure out why it's not turning around. It should, as soon as it's done, it should turn around and go the other direction. Yeah. Let me take some time to figure out what's going on here and what we need to do to fix this. Alright, I am back, and I have some good news. I figured out what we were doing wrong. So, I'm just making some of these boarding tracks. Now these will pretty much do exactly what our holding tracks do, but they'll only let the cart go back in one direction. So that's exactly what we want. I first need to make some pressure plates though. By some, I mean one. I keep thinking I need to make 2 of these for some reason, but I really only need 1. Because it's going to give me like 8 probably. And where... oh wait. Derp. Rail bed. There we go. And there we go. Boarding tracks. That'll do exactly what we're trying to do. Because unfortunately the holding track is going to make it want to continue along the same path it's been going, whereas the boarding track will turn it around, which is exactly what we want it to do. You guys can see I also made myself a crowbar. Go ahead and show you guys the recipe for that. It's not too big a deal. It's just some iron with some rose red, which we had lying around. That way we can use it to whack the track and it'll spin it around. And we'll do the same thing on the other side, and it should be working. Let's see. I did set this unloader to... I did set its filter, so it'll take 32 and then it'll run it back that way, so no big deal. So let's watch this thing work. It should be functioning properly now. There it goes. Did take 32, I believe. Could probably take the filter off just so that we can sort of see it work in full. But yeah, you can see it is stopping temporarily and it is then going back the way it came. Just so that we can make sure. You guys can see the buffer is now empty. And the cart's on its way back. Now if it's working properly, obviously we'll get 32 in here. And then it'll go back. So yeah, it's working completely. So now that this is working and we have ourselves a system, we can pretty much adjust how often it's going to be running back and forth. It obviously 32 is probably a little much, and honestly we could just go back to the transfer system, and it should just pull everything it can. I think it should theoretically go once. If we had weight, I think it would wait. Yes, it would wait until the chest was full. Whereas without weight on, it'll leave as soon as the buffer is empty. So yeah, so that's working perfectly. Cool. We could probably use another booster track somewhere in here as it starts to slow down a little bit, but I don't know. Yeah, we're here, we might as well do it, right? Do have a spare redstone torch, and we can wait till that goes that way. Let's see. $16 wide. I just wanted to see where roughly the middle would be. Of course, now this thing is going to be in our way, which is eating up precious time, which I do not like. So let me get this track down and I'll be back. Alright, we're back, and went ahead and put that track down. You guys can see I adjusted my item loader here so that basically the cart's going to wait until it has a full stack of peat before it runs back. So yeah, so this system is working pretty much perfectly. Now we really just need to get a way to get all this peat upstairs, and that should be simple enough. Obviously, we can do this with some buildcraft pipes, and we can just sort of pipe it upstairs, probably into another chest, just so that we can sort of control how it's moving. But we got a good supply of peat here, and thanks to our railcart system, it'll basically, so long as the farms keep running, it'll keep sending peat into the factory, which is exactly what we wanted it to do. So, I'm thinking for right now, we'll just leave it as is, and we can set up a system to get the peat upstairs later. I definitely want to get into some factorization stuff. You guys can see I've been not paying attention for a while, so my boiler is pretty low. But yeah, so I definitely want to do a little bit of that this episode. I don't want this railcart system to be eating up this whole one, so it's already eaten up a good portion of our time. So yeah, so why don't I get this boiler under control, and I'll get together the stuff for the factorization parts, and I'll be back. Alright, so we're back. You can see I kind of got my inventory cleaned up just a little bit here, as I definitely want to get it, like I said, get into some factorization stuff. And to do that, the first thing we're really going to need is a new kind of furnace that factorization adds, called a slag furnace. Now, to build one of these, we're going to need 2 regular furnaces, and like so, will give us a slag furnace. Now, as we get started here, the slag furnace will run off of just coal, but you'll see as we sort of get everything set up for ourselves, that'll change. We'll be able to run this off of something else. Now, I have to sort of think about where exactly I want to set up, because I definitely need access to the outside. And you know, it doesn't look like there's much room out there, but we can always make some for ourselves. So why don't we go ahead and set up, let's say here. And we can move stuff around if we need to in a little bit. So the cool thing about the slag furnace is it can take, you guys can see we have a ton of this factorization silver ore just sitting in here. But what this slag furnace can do is it can take this ore and it will cook it up, and you will see here in a second as it gets going that it should give us some silver and some lead. So it's a really nice way to, you can see there's a chance that it'll give us a couple of these lead ingots. And this is really important because we're going to need a lot of silver and lead moving forward into factorization. It requires quite a bit. So yeah, you guys can basically see that going. Why don't I go ahead and clip the video. As soon as I have a good amount of this stuff, I'll be back and I'll show you some of the cool little things you can build and what we're going to start building. So I'll be back. Alright, I am back, and you guys can see that I've got myself quite a bit of lead and silver, and I even went and got myself some clay. Mostly because, like most tech mods, one of the first things you're going to want to do in Factorization is figure out some kind of power generation system. And in Factorization, that power system is the solar turbine. And you can see the recipe here. It's pretty simple. I mean, fan's not too bad, except for the motor, which you can see needs all this crazy stuff. So that is why I need the clay right there. You can see we obviously need lots and lots of lead for this, like I said. So why don't we go ahead and get started with that first. Um, so yeah, motor. Let's look at what we need for that. We're gonna need 4 of these insulated coils, so we're gonna need 4 clay blocks. So we'll just go ahead and toss those together real quick. Not too difficult. We're going to need quite a few more of these, so I'm going to make 6 more, and you'll figure out why I'm doing this here in a little bit. So, okay, so we've got what we need for this, so let's go ahead and make these. These are pretty simple. It's just clay surrounded by lead. Should have enough, I think. Yeah. Okay. That's for that. And then we're going to need a magnet, which is a bunch of lead wire and a battery. How do you make a battery? Okay, that's going to take some sulfuric acid with some lead and some iron. So let's look at sulfuric acid then. It's pretty much going to be a water bottle with either 2 gunpowder and a coal or a sulfur and a coal. Now, I honestly cannot remember if I've actually found any sulfur yet. No, that's gold. I have not, so we're going to have to use some gunpowder, which is okay. We have plenty of that. Let's see here, go up here, grab a couple gunpowder, no big deal. Let's see, we're also going to need a glass bottle, which, got some glass over here. I'm going to go ahead and pull out a stack of glass panes, because we're going to need those in a little bit too. So I'm just going to make myself a glass bottle, 3 glass bottles in fact. And we need to fill it with water, obviously. Ooh, trying to climb up the scaffolding. Should probably put this on my bar. There we go. Oh, inventory is full, isn't it? That would make sense. Let's get rid of those roses. We don't really need them. Just run back up here. I'm going to go ahead and empty this bucket out into this 1x3 area we made. Now I'll show you guys what that's for here in a few. So first I want to go ahead and make my bit of sulfuric acid. So let's make ourselves a little bit of room in our inventory, because right now it's, as usual, pretty bad. That'll do. So yeah, let's see. We need coal, right? Please tell me we haven't cooked it all in here, and we have. Alright, let me go figure out where our coal is, and I'll be back. Okay, found a little bit of coal in our coke ovens outside. So we need water and a couple gunpowder, sulfuric acid. Cool. So now that we have that, we should have everything we need. Let's grab some. We're going to need quite a bit of iron anyway, so might as well grab it. So first things first, we'll make ourselves some lead wiring. We shouldn't need too many, but there we go. So this is going to be surrounded by lead on 4 sides and iron on the other 4. And that will give us a battery block at full charge. Now, we can use this later on, because to make one of these magnets, which you guys can hopefully see from here, you need to surround a piece of iron with a battery and a bunch of lead wiring. But here's the cool thing. Watch. We got a magnet. It didn't use up our lead wiring or our battery block. It just drained a little bit of power from it. Cool, right? So we can still use that stuff. And we have our magnet. So we should have everything we need now. Just toss this together with a magnet, a couple iron, and a little bit of lead. And we have our motor. Our fan should be simple. Should just be like that. So now we just need to take the motor and the fan, surround it with glass, and boom, solar turbine. Cool. Now, seems to be dark. Let me sleep through the night, and I'll be back as soon as we're ready to start throwing some of this down. Alright, I'm back, and you guys can see I made myself a little 3x1 infinite water pool here. That's very important. It's what we need. So, we're going to have to be a little clever with how we place it, but you definitely don't want to put it in the water pool. You just want it sitting on top. And you guys can see that the second I put it down, it went ahead and sucked a little bit of water into the turbine. Okay, so you can see we got the turbine down, but it doesn't look like it's doing anything, and you might be wondering exactly why. Well, I'll show you. First thing, I'm going to toss down a little bit of wiring just to have that taken care of, because we're going to need it there for later anyway. Yeah, so this is actually what we needed all of that. Let me kind of doing math here in my head while I'm talking. It's not really working. We'll go ahead and throw our battery down. It obviously won't get any power just yet, but the next part basically is going to be what we needed all that silver for, and it also means it's also the reason why I grabbed these glass panes. So basically, to get this thing working, we need to set up some solar panels, and these are really cool. Excuse me, they're not really solar panels, they're more solar mirrors. We're going to need a lot of them, so basically I'm just going to make as many of them as I possibly can, and then obviously once I get the rest of my silver heated up in the slag furnace, we can make more. Cool, 11. That'll do for now. Obviously the more of these mirrors you have, the better. So trying to figure out exactly the distance I want to space this out at. I don't think we're going to need too much power. So why don't we go 4 out. I want to say something like 5 or 6 is the max. Let's see. Okay, 5 definitely works. 6 works. 7 works. 8 does not. So 7 away from the turbine is the furthest away, and obviously the further away you put your mirrors, the more mirrors you can fit into a space around it. So definitely worthwhile if you need a lot of power. I'm just sort of evenly spacing them for now, and they'll fill in around as we sort of move along. What the hell? We'll put them 5 out. Might as well, right? Okay, and we have 2 more, which, just for sake of symmetry, we'll put them out in the corners. And now you can see our little turbine is spinning. So we should be generating power now. We can't right click on it. In order to check it, we'll have to make another little doodad, but I'll have to come back to that later, because I mostly just want to sort of get this system set up and working properly. So that done, we have one more little item that we want to make, because right now we don't really have any machines that can utilize the power that we're generating. And to do that, we're going to use this clay that I put together. And we're going to make a furnace heater. Pretty simple, just 6 of these insulated coils with some lead. So you guys hopefully remember how to make that. It's a block of clay with some lead around it. Should hopefully maybe be able to use our pocket crafting table here. Let's see if we're going to have enough lead. We might cut it close. Nope, we should have enough. Just enough. Cool. Insulated coils. I don't know why it... There we go. And it should just be this with some lead. Cool. Furnace heater. Now the furnace heater is really cool because it can provide heat to a number of different machines, but in particular the one I'm looking at least getting some power to first is our slag furnace, and I'm just going to throw it here on top, that way we can move other machines down the line here. But yeah, so now we really just need to hook up some power to the furnace heater and we're good, and we can do that just by hooking up our battery outside to our system inside. So let's take a look here. We should just be able to dig down here, and should be, there it is. I knew it was right behind the wall here. And the lead wiring is pretty cool. It can definitely go around corners and that sort of thing, so I'm going to pop that off of there and move it underground. Actually, why don't we put it right here in the wall, and then we'll run wiring straight over to it. You can see, you can do this, and come on. There we go. You can see now we have this lead cable hooked up, and it should be powering our battery, which should be powering our furnace heater. And if we go in there, take a look, you can see our furnace heater is on now. And it should be providing power to the, or heat to the slag furnace, so now we don't need to worry about any coal in here. It'll just keep on cooking and we're good. So there's one other little item I want to go ahead and get going before the end of this episode, and one we can put right next to this furnace heater. And it's pretty easy to make, so it's not too big a deal. It's called the crystallizer, and you can see it's pretty simple little recipe here, but very, very useful tool. So all we really need is, we have a stick, so we really just need some string from upstairs. Boom, got some. And there we go. Go ahead and, as usual, throw all this stuff to the ground. I don't know why I threw away those sticks, because I'm going to need those. So we're going to need a cauldron. Pretty simple little vanilla recipe there. Going to pick up our sticks, because like I said, we need those. Okay, so piece of string and a cauldron. Stick, string, cauldron gives us a crystallizer. Now this does need to be next to a furnace heater, which is part, like I said, part of the other reason why I made it. But it's a really cool little device, which should, it can make a lot of different stuff. But one of the first things that I'm thinking I want to make are slime balls, because you can usually note that slime balls can be kind of hard to get a hold of if you're not near a slime spawning chunk, and I know I had some problems with it quite a while ago, so I literally just spent hours, you know, looking for slimes and didn't really find that many, so it was pretty much a gigantic time sink. But you can see here we can make slime balls with just a little bit of milk and some lime dye, and the cool thing about this is when you put the milk in here, it won't actually use up the milk as it turns lime dye into slime balls, so it's a really cool little thing. So yeah, why don't we go ahead and make us some of that. I'm gonna find myself a cow and I'm gonna milk it, and I'll be back. Alright, let's see here. Lime dye is really easy to make. We got ourselves a little bit of cactus green and bone meal, and that'll give us lime dye, and that's quite a bit of lime dye. It's going to be plenty for what we're doing. I've not gotten my milk yet, but we do have a cow farm not 2 feet away from us, so it shouldn't be too difficult. Just take a bucket and milk it. Now we have some milk. Delicious. So yeah, it's a really cool little machine. Let's go ahead and throw the stuff in here. It will take a little while to run, but it's pretty much as simple as this. You can put your lime dye in pretty much whatever you want around the outer edges here, and you can fill all 5 slots, and it should make multiple slime balls per time it runs. You can see it heats up, and then it's going to take quite a while to finish up. But like I said, once it's done, you'll see that we have a slime ball. So why don't I keep the video, and I'll be back as soon as it's done. Alright, so you guys can see, obviously this machine finished up running, and we've got ourselves 10 slime balls, and it's still going. So yeah, so we can just let that go, and we'll have more than enough slime balls for anything we want to do. So, that done, I felt like we got a lot done today. We got our Railcraft stuff done, and we got a little bit into Factorization. So unfortunately, this is probably about where we're going to have to end this episode. Hopefully you guys let me know what you think of Factorization. If you want to see more of it, it's obviously one that I have not done a whole lot with, but it's definitely got some neat stuff in it that I'm liking. So if you guys want to see more, I'm more than happy to do quite a bit more with it. So let me know. So next time, I don't know I'm not really sure what we want to do next time. Why don't you guys, if you guys have any thoughts, leave a comment and I'll take a look at it and we'll figure out what we're going to do next episode. But until then, this has been episode 12 of DarkDragoon's Feed the Beast Modpack Let's Play. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. Catch you later.